Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Blueprint podcast. So glad that you are here for another episode. Welcome if you're joining me for the first time. Welcome back if you have listened to one of these episodes before. Regardless, so happy to have you here. So this is the podcast where we talk about all things rebuilding, building a life that you love. And that you are proud of. We only have one go around this merry-go-round, and so we need to make the most of it and look back on it as a life that you absolutely loved with no regrets. So yes, we're going to talk about today building an active routine or building an active lifestyle. In the last episode, I talked about some of the trends that I think we can expect to see in 2026 when it comes to personal development, like health and wellness and all of that. And one of the trends that I think that is going to become really prominent in 2026 is this active lifestyle, that it doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, that there's some way to be active. I think we're going to see it where people are making more of an effort to be active while they're traveling, even when they've got a lot on and they're working a lot or they've got a lot of commitments. People are going to still try and find ways to incorporate physical activity into their life. So I thought it would be really cool to talk about how you can build a lifestyle that is based around activity going into 2026. But before we get into the episode of today, highlight of my week is I have deleted social media. Well, I've started 75 hard again. And as part of that, rather than sticking to a super strict diet, I've decided that I'm going 75 days without my personal social media. Obviously, I will still use social media for the podcast. However, I do have it on like a different phone. And that phone is like an old phone, so it's so hard to use. So like there's nothing more that I want to do than just like schedule or like post what I need to post and then get off it because it's so annoying to use. And that was kind of my intention, is that I'm like, if I make it as distasteful and as unenjoyable as possible, hopefully I won't like use that as a way to get around this. And so far I haven't. I've literally been like on and off. That is it. So yes, I love it. Like I've done like little social media detoxes in the past and like always love it. And like I always go back on it and I'm always like, oh, this is not as good. But then I get addicted and then the cycle starts again. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I just need to get rid of it for good. But like the idea of like fully quitting, like can't really get around at the moment. So anyway, yes, I'm doing 75 hard again. I'm doing it with a friend of mine, which will be really good because, I've done it twice before. Once I didn't finish it. The other time I finished it, but it was like a struggle to the finish line where like the diet was not really dieting by the end of it. The reading was not really reading by the end of it. So yes, but I guess I don't do these things to punish myself. I don't do 75 hard or like all these other things that I've done, like Hyroxes and things like that I've done in the past. Like I don't do it in deleting social media. I don't do it to punish myself. I actually find it really freeing and aligning to do things like this. And I find that I have more focus and more clarity when I do things like this, and I waste a lot less time because I'm like, this is what the next 75 days is going to look like. And I often find that when I'm tired and unmotivated, just in general, it's because I've stopped doing things that make me feel alive or like that make me feel like I'm getting some sort of return on the investment, that I'm not wasting time on things like social media and scrolling. And social media is honestly just the big one, like for me, to be honest. Like it's not even other forms of media, it's literally social media. I can waste like hours on that per day. It's terrible. As someone who like talks a lot about like personal development, I'm like, I don't know how I get so addicted to my phone and I could just waste an hour and a half and just I've absolutely achieved nothing. And it's not that social media is bad. I just cannot stand how I get so addicted to it, because I know other people that like can use it mindfully, but like maybe it's just like my all or nothing mentality where I'm like, it's either like I'm on it and I cannot get off it, or I like can't be on it. So anyway, but in the last 5 days, I've noticed that I already have more clarity. I already have more focus. I'm already doing a lot more. I'm being a lot more active. I already am like planning so much more for the podcast, because any like little time in between like tasks, or when I'm on a break, or I'm not like doing something that I'm not like hunched over like a question mark, like doom scrolling through my phone, like, oh, I'm like getting up and I'm moving around and I'm looking for things to do, or like looking up at the sky, and I just feel so much better for it. I'm like finding I'm more creative because more ideas are coming to my mind. Like, this is how much like this is terrible. Like, I would be so addicted to my phone that like I would go for a walk and I would find myself scrolling while I was walking. And like, to me, that's just like the epitome of like, you're far too addicted. So I that is why it's like a complete gone for me, in for the next 75 days at least, or until, yeah. But like now I'm like going for walks and I'm like getting ideas for the podcast and things that I can post on social media, and like even for my work and my PhD, I'm like just like, I don't know, I feel like my brain's like alive again, which is like such a good feeling, which is why I do these things. A lot of people are like, why do you do them? It's like, like it's so like over the top, or like it's so much, and like, oh, but I'm like, otherwise my life just like wastes away before my eyes. So anyway, that's what the highlight of my week has been. Completely understand that it would not be everyone's highlight, but for me, I love it when I kind of get my time back, I get my brain back, get my life back. So yes, and as I said, like one of the things that I really notice is that I'm a lot more active. Obviously doing 75 hard forces you to be a lot more active, but even in those small moments, like in between study or in between work, where I'm like just filling time, I'm like doing, like I'm stretching, or I'm just getting up and I'm moving around, or like I'm finding ways to just like get my steps in. And that's kind of what this episode is about, is just finding ways to make your life more active. Like, building an active lifestyle is not about becoming a fitness person by any means, but it's building a lifestyle where you move your body every day. And we already know that movement is good for us. Like, I don't have to sit on here and preach to you about the benefits of physical activity, the benefits of exercise, the benefits of moving your body. We've all heard it before, but often hearing it is not enough for us to make a change. It is not enough for us to take action and actually move our body. But if I was to ask you to describe what you think your life might be like if you were more active, you would probably say things like, I'd probably feel so much better. I'd probably feel so much better about myself. I probably wouldn't be so stiff. I'd probably feel more confident. I'd probably feel just happier for moving more, and like my life more. And that's the shift that I think we need when you're thinking about developing an active lifestyle. It is not about developing a certain aesthetic. It's not about looking a certain way. It is really about feeling a certain way. And I think that if we can identify the way we would feel if we were more active, that is far more motivating than me sitting here telling you need to be active. Okay. I also get that that would not be helpful in any means. Like, I have a fairly active life already. I've played lots of sport growing up. So like, I would definitely be like talking from a place of privilege. So my intention behind this podcast is not to like tell you need to be active by any means. It's to kind of invite you into a lifestyle which is active, which will make you feel better. It will make you feel more confident. It will make you more motivated. And I think that if I was to ask you to describe what your life would be like with being more active, I think that there would be very few people who would say you would feel worse off for that. So yes, and I mean the research of being living a more active life, if you need that, is, in the research they actually describe exercise as medicine, because it's been proven that exercise and being active not only gives you more years, but it gives you better years. So you get a better quality of life for more years of your life. And when you think about building a life that you love and that you're proud of, you can't build a meaningful life in a body that feels tired, that feels stiff, that feels disconnected. And so actually the simple practice of being more active can give you more access to energy, more access to your emotions and understanding your emotions, more access to confidence. And that is the recipe for building a life that you love and that you are proud of. So essentially movement is key. Episode done. No. But yes, I think being active has translate to so many areas of building a life that you love and you're proud of, which is why I feel like it's very fitting to talk about it on the podcast. So yes, as I said, I think the big thing that I want to get across is that being someone with an active lifestyle is not the same as being an exercise person. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, is they hear the word active, physical activity, and they're like, oh, that's not for me. That means being a gym person. That means like loving workouts. That means tracking macros, wearing the outfits. And if you're not that type of person, like that's just like absolutely off-putting. And like, you're like, I'm not interested. And if you're an all or nothing person, it's even more like, it's either got to be, I've got to do it exactly as the aesthetic says or not at all. But an active lifestyle doesn't have any requirements. I guess if you were to call it a requirement, or the only thing that you need for an active lifestyle is to move your body. That is it. The goal of an active lifestyle is not fitness. It is not a certain body shape or a weight or a aesthetic. It is how you want to feel inside your body, which is the most important thing of an active lifestyle. So the first step of building an active lifestyle is just faking it till you make it. So James Clear, Atomic Habits, he talks about the idea that the fastest way to change your behavior or change things is to change your identity, and it's changing the way that you think about things. So you don't run because you want to be a runner. You become a runner because you run. Okay? You don't move because you want to be a movement person or like an active person. You become an active person because you move. Right? So instead of asking, how do I get more active? You need to ask yourself, what would an active person do today? And you would probably easily think of a few examples for yourself, but some might be like, they might stretch between emails, they might go outside, they might walk instead of sitting, they might take the stairs instead of the escalators. Little tiny things that would make you more active would make you an active person. So that's the first thing, is literally just fake it till you make it. Literally just think of yourself as an active person from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, and you will be an active person. Because remember, there's no bare minimum to this. Like the bare minimum is like you move your body. So like however you want to define that is up to you. But the main thing, the only requirement is that you move in your body. The next thing is building an active lifestyle. You need to use what you already have. So you already commute somewhere to something. You already work, you already eat, you already socialize, you already run errands. So you don't need more time. You actually need more movement inside the time you already use. Okay. So for example, if you're already getting coffee, can you walk to get coffee? I know I live in the city, so like that's quite easy for me to do, but maybe can you drive and then park 100 meters away, and then you walk 100 meters to the coffee shop and 100 meters back. Like 100 meters would take you 3 or 4 minutes to walk. So that's like 8 minutes of activity in the morning altogether. Could you park further away? Can you walk during your calls? I know for me, when I was doing a lot of work calls, I would schedule my last one of the day as a phone meeting, and I would walk during that meeting. So I would go for a walk while I was answering that call. And obviously, if you need to have your computer, that makes it a little bit difficult. But if you can try and schedule at least one meeting a day or at least one meeting a week where you don't need your laptop in front of you, and you can do it over the phone, it's a great way to get steps in. Obviously, walking pad, if you have the financial funds to be able to have access to that, another great way. It is quite, you have to get the whole setup if you're going to use it at your desk. But remember, you can use a walking pad in front of the TV, or just if you don't like exercising outside, it's a great way to exercise inside. Stretching while you're watching Netflix. I do this all the time. Just put something on and watch it and just stretch and move around while you're doing that. Do errands in a more active way. So what I mean by this is that go to, for example, say you need to return an item. Can you return that in a location where you have to walk more to that? That's a really bad example. Not a bad example, but I haven't explained that really well. So how sometimes you go to return something and you literally will park right outside the shopping center, then walk into the shop and walk out, and it's done. Could you instead go to the independent shops? For example, Seed. I love Seed. I love that shop. So there's a Seed in Maya, and there's also a Seed in the shopping center, but there's also a Seed not far from me that is I would have to drive, but then I would also have to kind of walk a little bit. I'd have to find a park and then walk to it, because it's not in a shopping center. It's a shop on its own. And going to the one on its own forces me to walk more, right? Rather than just going to the shopping center, parking right as close to the shopping center entrance as I can, going through the Maya entrance, returning in Maya, going home, or just over to the Seed shop and then going home. So think about ways that you can incorporate more activity into your errands that you have to run. Hopefully that makes sense. It wasn't a great example, but I think you get the gist, right? So next thing, my suggestion is find movements that you don't hate. So find things that you enjoy or you used to enjoy when you were a kid. Because the best type of movement is the one that you actually do. So if it's stretching, if it's Pilates, if it's walking, if it's boxing, also remember, you don't need to do this thing forever. You just need to try it and see what fits in your life right now. When you make a commitment to some sort of activity, you're not making this commitment for the rest of your life. Remember, nothing is permanent. This is not the rest of your life. You could just commit to it for a month, or you could commit to it for 3 weeks, 3 months or 12 months, whatever you want, whatever kind of season you're in and you feel is going to motivate you to do it the most. I know for me, knowing that I can tap out after 3 weeks or 4 weeks is actually really motivating, because I'm well, what have I got to lose by doing this thing for a month, right? This is kind of the approach I'm taking with the podcast. Is I'm okay, post consistently on social media and do a lot of work on the podcast for 3 months. And then if he doesn't, well, then you get some outside help and you get some more help to build the podcast, right? But don't give up on yourself too soon. Don't think because you've never been good at it or you've never liked it doesn't mean that if you were to give it a few goes that you wouldn't you might like it, is what I'm trying to say. Or you might actually be good at it. Of course you're not going to be good on it the first time. No one is good at anything on the first time. But if you did it for 3 weeks, you would be better at it than when you started. Then that might just give you the motivation to be you know what, actually, I'm actually going to stick at this for another month. But for me, that works. For me, small commitment, less commitment is better. Some people okay, if I'm going to commit to this for a year, that will make me do it more. Whatever works for you. But you want to find something you don't hate or something you enjoy, and you're just going to try it. Try lots of different things. Okay. The next thing is start active hobbies or incorporate activity into your social connections and social life. I used to be part of this networking group called The Art of Mondays, and it was really cool. Every month they would match you with different Like you signed up and you answered questions, and it was kind of like a networking platform. So, but it was across all industries. So there was people in business, there was people in real estate, there was people in like health like I am. There's people kind of just figuring things out. Like they kind of are in the business world, but they don't kind of have a niche or a topic that they kind of focus on. They're kind of starting out in business. And they would match you with 3 or 4 other individuals. And the rule was you had to meet on a Monday and you had to meet doing something active. So it was super cool. Like I met some really amazing people and we would just meet up, and like one of them we went for a walk, another one we went for a run. That one was like kind of hard because I was like low-key dying, like, yes, this is what I do, like in between like deep, heavy breaths. And like meanwhile, they're like one of the ladies like ran marathons, and she was just like cruising along anyway. But you know, like now I look back on it, I'm like, oh, whatever, like it really didn't matter. At the time I was like, get me out of here anyway. But like the concept is still great. Like you don't have to run, you can walk, or you can, another one we went and did lose like sauna, ice bath things, pickleball. Like you can find a way to connect doing something active, and do things like find ways to like catch up with your friends or like hang out with your friends that doing something that requires movement, like dance classes. My sister recently told me that she's been doing dance classes with her friends for like 6 months, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like you're so cool. And it's like they catch up on a Wednesday night and they go to like this hip hop dance class, and I'm like, and she's like, yeah, it's like $10, and I'm like, that's so cool. Because like I just feel like also like I can dance, but like I'm not like, not hip hop dance like that. But I feel like if that was something that you learned to do, you would just immediately feel cool, right? Anyway, that's just what I would think, that you're cool. Anyway, you know, walking, getting coffee is always a fun one. Going and sitting in a park if you're going to catch up. You know, the other day I was like going for a walk and I saw this Pilates and Prosecco in New Farm, and I was like, oh my gosh, how cool. Like if you love drinking and you like Pilates, that's a great way to like combine the two. Shopping is another one. I feel like this is so underestimated. Literally go shopping. Literally. So if you live in Brisbane, the Garden City shopping centre, that whole loop is 1 kilometre. So if you need to get your steps up, it's inside, it's air conditioned. You could go with people, you could go on your own. It wouldn't look weird in any way. You can wear whatever you like. I would suggest wearing something comfortable so you don't get blisters, but you don't have to wear exercise clothes. You can literally wear whatever you want. Bowling is another one. As I was like writing the episode for like the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time I went bowling. But also like how fun, like bowling's always so much fun, and it's also active. So it's like a great way to just be active and like catch up socially. Or if you want to do it by yourself, that's another thing you can do. And the last thing is you want to start small, but you want to measure it. So if you don't define what active means, your brain will always tell you that you're failing. So you need to pick something, whether it's steps per day, whether it's a number of movement sessions per week, if it's like the minutes that you've moved. You need to pick something to like tell your brain, I'm doing more of this each week or each day. And obviously it's not like each day needs to get more and more and more. There is a limit, but like you need to like slowly increase by little steps, and then you do need to maintain it, but you need to like tell your brain that you're reminding it. Remind your brain that you're maintaining it. Because we can't build lives with vague intentions. We need to build them with small, clear commitments. So pick some sort of measurement, start small, and then use it to motivate you, tell your brain that you are becoming an active person because you are moving more. So that is building an active lifestyle. Hope you enjoyed. Hope that it has given you a little bit of, maybe like has helped shift your perspective, a little bit more insight, and also some ideas into ways that you can be an active person, because that is the trend of 2026, is being active. Doesn't matter what stage of life you are at. So yes, that is the episode for today. Hope you enjoyed. Remember, it is never too late to start building a life that you love and that you are proud of. And yes, I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Love you lots.